everyone, it's Zahava. Welcome back to the channel. It is me again in the same setting, having just finished filming the 15 books that I kept aside for my latest big book haul and that I'm not going to be putting onto eBay. I also wanted to mention that it is Halloween today as I'm filming. It's October 31st. We are in Montreal and the weather is beautiful outside. It is sunny, it is bright, it is fall, and it is unusual. It's unusual because today when people go out trick-or-treating, and this like literally never happens, I can't recall a time when this has ever happened in my lifetime, it's going to be like 23 degrees, which if you guys know Montreal temperature, normally we go out on Halloween and it's like 3 degrees, often raining. People are putting winter jackets over their costumes, fall jackets under their costumes. So I think that the kids are going to have a blast tonight because it is going to be warm. And yes, it does get dark around 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. It's definitely dark by that hour in our time zone, but still, I'm so happy for the kids that are going out trick-or-treating today, and I almost wish that my kids were young enough that I could take them out and, watch everybody in their costumes being all nice and warm, like many of you in the US are probably used to. But for us in Canada, this is like a true novelty. So I just wanted to put that out there. Okay, so what I have for you guys today is another kind of book haul, but this one's a little bit different, okay? I did just finish going through my big book haul, setting out the 15 books that you guys will have seen in the last video that we talked about keeping them aside. But the reason that I'm doing a separate video for this one is because this one is going to be all about classics in literature. Now, I don't necessarily mean just Victorian classics such as The Woman in White or Jane Eyre or Emma. I'm talking about like classic books that people would generally say that they have read or want to read. And neither of those things are true in this case. So all of the books that I have here, there are 7 of them, okay? There are 7. I have not read these books before, nor have I ever wanted to read them. But as they have shown up in my book haul, and they've only cost me 20 cents, and there is a great pretension surrounding the fact that people have either read these books or not, I wanted to sort of discuss with you a couple of things. So first, I'm going to show you guys which ones I kept aside because I feel like I should be reading them because there's sort of a societal pressure to read these books, especially when you say that you have an English lit degree. Like, it's kind of embarrassing. I do have an English lit degree. I really do. But most of my studies were concentrated around Victorian and Edwardian literature. So I would have read Dracula. I would have read, as I've said, Wilkie Collins' The Woman in White. I would have read Charles Dickens. I would have read anything basically that my profs would have assigned for me to earn my degree. And it really had to do more with the scheduling, which classes were being offered essentially when I was able to attend school because I had already had my kids by then and had to go back and finish my degree at night. So I was kind of stuck with whatever classes were being offered. I couldn't really pick and choose, you know? So I did get my English lit degree, but the professor who was getting like most of the nighttime courses was really specialized in Victorian era and Edwardian era literature. So a lot of these modern day classics, I just never got around to. So I have a few books here that I kept aside, and I'm not sure honestly that I'm going to enjoy them, but I want to show you what they are anyway. And it's one of these classics, okay? It's one of these genres that I feel like, it's like people read them so you feel like you have to read them, right? So I'm finding this genre a little challenging, I'm not gonna lie, but still, I kept them aside. I don't know how long it's gonna take me to read any of them. So enough talking, let's just see what they are. So the first book I have here is On the Road by Jack Kerouac. It's a novel that I've heard of, but I have no idea what it's about, only that it defined a generation. That's pretty much all I know. So again, this is a book that I've kept aside. I kind of flipped through it a little bit. I feel like I don't think that I'm gonna get through it. I feel like it's giving a little bit Catcher in the Rye vibes. I'm not really great with existentialist fiction. I don't know if that's what this is about. I could be totally wrong, but as it is one of the classics of American literature, I figured I'll pick it up, I'll give it a shot. Worst case scenario, I DNF it. The next thing that I have is, again, The Sun Also Rises by Ernest Hemingway. This is clearly a very vintage copy. I'm not a reader of Hemingway. In fact, I have never read Hemingway, but I know who he is, and this is definitely a very popular novel, so it even smells vintage. It's like You know, like when they have that smell. Okay, so have this one. That's going to be on the list of classics to read. The next one that I have here, I think these ones are actually part of a series because they have the same, I think they probably came in like a box set of classics, but in my book haul, I only saw these two, so these are the two that I kept aside. They also had a copy of To Kill a Mockingbird, which I didn't keep aside because I'd read that one already in like grade 9, grade 8, grade 9. So I didn't see the point in reading that one again since I read it and I didn't like it the first time. So there's no reason to read it again. But I did try, I don't know, many years ago. Maybe I was too young for it, but I did try once and I never made it through to read The Phantom of the Opera. So this is one that I definitely do want to read. I just don't know if I will be able to. I'm going to try it again, but I'm not making any promises. I may not make it all the way through. So I definitely want to try reading this one. It's not a huge book. I don't know if this is abridged, like meant for kids, because I kind of feel like the original Phantom of the Opera was like a bit thicker. Like I remember it being quite thick in my brain. So I could be wrong, but I'm going to read it because it's like pretty much brand new. It's in like new condition. This is also something that I would feel extremely comfortable putting out as a blind book date, but for now it's going to be in the classics TBR. The next thing that I have, this one I would not give away as a blind book date because it kind of has like a scratch on the cover, but I am unfamiliar with the writings of D.H. Lawrence, even though Lady Chatterley's Lover is a very popular book and millions of people have read it. I have never read Lawrence. I've never read this book, but you know, people talk about it. So as part of a personal reading challenge for 2025, because you know, we're still like right now as I'm recording, as I've said, it's Halloween. So it's not going to happen this year, but for 2025, I definitely want to be, I feel like it's going to be like a trudge through like a swamp, you know, to read all these classic literature pieces, but I'm challenging myself to do it. And I would like to know on this topic, you guys, am I like alone, or does anyone else feel the societal pressure to read classics when you may not want to because you literally have no interest in it, such as the position that I find myself in right now? So I just want to know if I'm alone, or if you're feeling alone, you're not alone. You're not alone, because I am very reluctant to be going through this pile of 7 books, but I've set myself out a challenge. So I'm going to just show up and be my best self, because that's all I can promise. I cannot promise that I'm going to like these books or that I'm going to finish these books, but I can promise, and you guys can hold me accountable to it, that I will definitely show up and I will at least give it a try. So this one here, I feel like I may actually like. This is Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. And I feel like I've seen this. Like, I think that this one is sci-fi. I've heard the title of this book mentioned many, many times. Never picked it up. Never read it, never came across it. It landed in my lap. It landed on this list. And because I like sci-fi in general, because I think it really gives you like, it's very close to fantasy. And as somebody who has written their dissertation on fantasy literature, sci-fi is kind of hand in hand. Like, I love the idea that it provokes thought. It's a very thought-provoking genre. And I just love how fantasy, magic, mystical, and science are all kind of mixed together in the surreal, these surreal worlds that people are putting together in their brains. So Brave New World, excited to read this one as opposed to any of the others. I feel like I would really enjoy this one. A Clockwork Orange. I've never read it. I know it's a film. I feel like Jack Nicholson is in it, if I'm not mistaken, but I never saw it. I think I could probably get through it. It says that it's kind of haunting and terrifying. So again, if I'm feeling a little too disturbed by it, I could always put it down. But it is one of those novels that like everyone has read except for me, which again is really embarrassing to say, because as somebody with an English lit degree, you would think that I would have read like pretty much any or all of these books already, but no, it's just, it really had to do with the scheduling, like I said before. So I never got into these like sort of, modern day classics, contemporary classics. So Clockwork Orange, short read, but I don't know, it could be heavy inside. I really don't know. So let me know if you guys have read this one and if you think I will like it. And the last book that I have here is Catch-22. So again, this one here is one that you hear about, you see all the time. It's on everybody's reading list. It's on the classics of like Goodreads, Amazon, Indigo. It's like, it's everywhere. I don't really know much about it, only that it has sold umpteen million times. And that I've seen this novel throughout my entire life and just have never picked it up because I think I have sort of a low-key, I think one of my toxic traits is like when a book is overhyped, I just don't pick it up. So I kind of feel like I'm in this era now in my 40s where, especially if I'm going to be doing booktube, I have the time to sit down and read these things. My youngest baby is, by the time you see this video, or at least within the few weeks, following that, she will be turning 17. So, we have time. My husband and I have time, more time right now to devote to ourselves and pursuing our own interests. And I'm not saying that I'm going to love this book, but I'm not saying I'm going to hate it either. Again, I know absolutely nothing about it, save for the fact that it is a best-selling book and that it cost me 20 cents. So I'm going to give it a go and we will see what I think of it. So again, thank you so much for coming to spend a little bit of your day with me today. I know it's a bit of a shorter video. It's just to show you in the parentheses of that book haul which books I kept aside that were classics. And yeah, I don't know. You guys can argue with me. Maybe you're going to tell me they're not classics because for you guys, classics are like a different era, 1800s, early 1900s, and that's fine. But these are popular books in any case that I have never read, that I feel like I should read them. But then again, there's a side of me that says, maybe only literary snobs read these novels. I don't know. I'm just talking right now. But basically, yeah, I want to thank you guys for coming to spend time with me today. If you want to see more content like this, as controversial as it may or may not be, please like this video and subscribe to the channel and leave me a comment down below. Let me know which ones, if any or at all, were your favorites and if you think I'm going to like them. And I will see you again in the next video. Ciao for now.